Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Walking in Her Shoes with my co-host, Makira. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, Dr. Liz. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. For this episode, though, I want to dedicate this episode to my cousin, Tina Marie, who made her transition this past week. And she was such a special part of the whole podcast and the walking in her shoes. This episode or this segment, she actually was, instrumental in bringing this to pass. She was so hilarious. Like she just has such a big personality, a big persona, and a big sense of humor, and she just brought a lot of life to, everything that she did. And she just had just this loving heart. And, it's, I know I can hear her saying, you keep going, you move forward. She talked in an episode that we did about Les Brown, about how she saw me making, picking up life's um, challenges or life's hurdles and making stairs and climbing into a, and climbing up and climbing out of situations when life throws dirt and throws things onto us. And so, just to know that, she saw me in that light and that bring I was able to bring joy into her heart. I was able to really express how much I loved her. And that's why it's important that we cherish every single day with one another, because we never know, you know. And so I look back on we had over the ones that I kept over 290 something text messages back
Oh,
and forth with us, just being able to let our hair down and laugh with one another and be silly and, kind of channel that inner little girl inside of us. So I just
mhm.
wanted to, pay tribute to her and a life spent, full of joy and, loving the Lord. And when I say full of joy, meaning that she brought joy into so many people's lives.
Okay.
So, I grieve differently, and I think just thinking about her and being able to even look at some of the podcasts with her on it, brings me joy. You know.
It's beautiful to honor relationships like that for those that you love that may not be present physically with you anymore. So I definitely, absolutely salute and honor her.
Thank you. Thank you. So, we are going to go into today's topic, but don't forget before you get started to like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. You never know who you're going to bless with this information. And so, we are talking about, I'm going to keep talking about bouncing the ball and playing on the tennis court. So, we're bouncing the ball over in your court today. So, you want to start us off today?
Yes, I thought that we're going to continue in the book with Dr. Jackie Walters and the QueenV. And she, with chapter 3, explores the 7 myths about a woman's libido. She also talks about some other things in this chapter, but I think that we should definitely go out and get the book if we're that curious, right? So we're just taking snippets of each chapter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I like the way you put that too. We're gonna have to
Mhm.
call Dr. Jackie and tell her, look, we're over here promoting your book because of the
We
information in it.
should.
So amazing. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So what are the 7 myths about a woman's libido?
Sure. So the first myth, low sex drive is your fault. Well, she says reality is a signal that something may be wrong, but it isn't a sign to start pointing fingers. So she says that low sex drive isn't about placing blame. Your queen V is giving you a heads up that there's a problem and you now have an opportunity to solve it. So sometimes women might take it personal and say, something is wrong with me, something is wrong with me, well, me. And it just could be something going on with your body in general, could be something going on within your relationship. If it's time that, I mean, excuse me, if your body is saying, I'm not interested in this at the time, take a moment to step back. And this is an opportunity for some reflection.
I like that point about there also may be something wrong in your relationship. because
Mhm.
that goes to why we talk about, making sure that we seek help or therapy when there's something going on with us, because we really need to understand that connection. Because if
Mhm.
there's something going on in your relationship that's not pleasing to you, or something that's going on that's causing you, you know, just some discomfort, then that's something that we need to address. Because oftentimes as women, we're like, initially were taught to, just, you know um hold it in, instead of talking about your issues or talking about it. We were like, kind of like in denial that it's even happening. And
Right.
now, correct me on this, if you deny those negative, toxic feelings or emotions, can that now manifest itself into a physical something or another?
I think absolutely our bodies do it naturally. So why wouldn't our thoughts somehow get to that point either? Our bodies, if you put in toxic things into your body, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Your body is building toxins, it's going to come out. It's because your body can only keep it in it within itself. It can only contain it for so long. So it's naturally going to come out. You'll see it in pimples, you'll see it in all kinds of illnesses, all kinds of things. So if you are experiencing toxic thoughts, then those are also going to come out. It's going to come out in your behavior. It's going to come out in your actions. They are definitely going to come out. We always think that we can hide our thoughts, and we can believe that we're really good at hiding what's going on in here. And a lot of times you can't. Eventually it's going to come out. It's going to show itself. It's just, it
Absolutely.
doesn't have a
Yeah.
choice. They say just be still, be quiet. Normally, it'll always show itself.
It'll show itself. So I had a young lady, and she gave me permission to talk about it when we were talking about, I was telling her about the episodes that we were going to do, talking about the QueenV. And, I didn't know that we were going to talk about, I didn't know this was going to relate to what she and I were talking about, because she wanted me to pose the question and even, look in the book to find out if, and this is adult content, but she said when she gets emotionally upset, her nipples hurt.
Mhm.
And especially when it's like with her partner, and he doesn't understand why. She said that they hurt to the point where she can't be touched. Even her bra hurts. And it's like that situation just and it it stays. And she's now, I was thinking, you know that I think that's a good place for therapy. Because
Mhm.
if you've been denying those feelings and swallowing it, and I'm not a licensed therapist or anything, or such. But I told her that I would bring it to our show for a discussion, because she just thought
Mhm.
that that was just so, like, is it just something wrong with me?
No, not at all. I think that is one thing about this section too that Dr. Walters identifies, and this is towards the end, after we get to I think once we get to the seventh myth, what she does point out is not so much, well, let me say it how she said it. The most important organ in our body is not our vagina. And that's something as women we need to be aware of and we need to identify. It's not the vagina that's most important. It's our brain.
Mm,
The largest organ of our body is our skin. The most important organ in our body is our brain. Our brain controls so much
yeah.
because our brain is there. It holds our chemicals. It is our control center of our body. So, for example, with the young lady you're talking about, our nipples, even when they are breasts, they produce milk, and our breasts hold so or are controlled by the chemicals that are developed in our brain, estrogen, help me with this, Dr. Liz,
So, Tosin, is it Tosin?
oxytocin,
Okay.
a few other chemicals too. I have to really put them in front of me because I can never ever say them like I'm supposed to. And they be like, I know you're a therapist, you should know this. I do know it, but it's easier when you have it right in front of you, right?
Absolutely.
But even when you think about sex and your partner stimulates your breast, your nipples, that's stimulation. So it's stimulating those chemicals in our brain, the dopamine, all of those chemicals come into the body. So when you're feeling anxious or something happens to you and anxiety increases, it's going to release chemicals, and they're going to go to those sensitive parts of our bodies, and they make those body parts react. That's why when you begin to have sex and you're with that man or that woman that's like, oh, we making you feel real good, that's why your body produces fluids, right?
Mhm.
That's why a man's body responds the way that it does, because of the chemicals in our brain. So that is why it's our brain, not so much the body part itself.
Wow. And see that was, you explained that so eloquently. And I think these are the conversations that, unfortunately are not being had. And so women go around, feeling like it's something wrong with me. And then, oftentimes men will say, well, this is how we fix it. But it's not how you fix it. You have to fix that underlying issue, whatever that is, you have to fix that first. And then you can, I know they say that sex is the glue for a relationship, and so
Right.
I think that's how, the war, I want to say, I was going to say the war of the roses, but the war of the sexes, where, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, where that
I
goes.
hear that all the time, doctor.
You hear it all the time.
All the time. It drives me absolutely nuts.
About that, I think about that book and how, they're talking about the opposite, because men, I've heard men say that, well, this is how you get, this is how you fix it. Well, no, little boy, it's not that's not how you fix it. Grown men
Right.
understand that it's, that you have to fix this before you can, really both parties have pleasure in the sexual, I always say, interaction.
Everyone has some level of sexual desire. Reality, I've seen a few women who declare they just don't desire sex. A small but still significant. 1% of the population, she shares, is considered to be asexual. Asexual in our sexuality means that the individual may have an attraction to a person, they may desire to have companionship, they just do not have interest in having sex.
Wow.
Yeah, so they don't even become stimulated there.
I wonder if there's a fix for that, or maybe they may not want to fix it because they don't see as anything broken or that anything is wrong or missing.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. They just don't have the desire. It's nothing there. It says there's just no desire to have intercourse at all. Again, they desire companionship, and they may even spoon or just have some sort of intimacy. But to take the level of intimacy to that of intercourse, they have no desire for it whatsoever.
So I think this is a good point of good communication and being able to be comfortable in your sexuality, because
Right.
then you, a asexual person and another asexual person would be the perfect match for one another. I think we start
Right.
having all these issues when we have the like a asexual personality that's really attracted to someone that's not an asexual personality, and then they try to build a relationship from there. And I think that would be very interesting.
It would be. Something else I think comes from that we may not think of is the use of boundaries as well. Being able to identify what our boundaries are when it comes to our relationships, especially around intimacy, is very important in these types of, I think in all relationships, but most particularly those who may be asexual. So what if you are a person who has a relationship with someone who's not asexual, but that's the person you chose to have a relationship with? Then you need to have boundaries in place, or those values in place when it comes to your relationship. Again, coming along with communication,
Yes.
so that you can maintain a healthy relationship between the two.
Wow. So it's possible for an asexual person to be with someone that's not asexual and have a healthy relationship as long as the boundaries are respected.
I would hope, yeah, I
Wow.
would guess
Okay.
so. Yes. I think, and again, I'm going back to communication because communication is so important. When you're communicating, you're talking about your values, you're talking about what you can and what you can't accept, the things you will and will not do, your expectations, your fantasies, all types of things come along with communication. So if I'm a person that's asexual and my partner is not, then I need to understand those things that are important to my partner, and my partner understands within me what's important to me, and we will respect one another's values and wishes, making sure that our partners are, their needs are maintained.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, wow, that's good. That's good. All righty. I'm interested. Let me hear number 3.
Number 3 is the myth, excuse me, the third myth. Lack of sexual desire isn't a problem if you don't have a partner. Now, when I read that myth, I said, what? So I'm gonna read it again.
You
The
my face.
third myth. Right. The third myth, lack of sexual desire isn't a problem if you don't have a partner. Basically, if I don't have a partner, is what it's saying, then I don't even desire sex. Again, unless you're asexual.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
I had to compute. I had to go on both sides. Like, what are we talking about? Okay. Okay. Hmm.
So she says you gotta ask yourself the chicken and the egg questions, like which came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, basically, do you have low sexual desire because you don't have a partner, or is the reason you don't have a partner because you have low sexual desire? So maybe the reason why you don't have a partner is because you have a low sexual desire, not necessarily the other way around.
Okay.
Are
Okay.
you choosing to push down your sexual desire because you don't have a partner based off of your values? Maybe you're a person that values being in a relationship or a marriage in order to have sex with someone, and
Absolutely.
you are suppressing your desire
Okay.
versus saying, oh, I can't, I don't have a partner, so then I just don't feel, I guess I just don't have sex. No, you're human. If you're not asexual, more than likely you have a sexual desire. It's by
Right.
choice you're choosing to not have sex.
Absolutely.
If that's
Absolutely.
the
I can
case.
see that. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. Okay. All
Or
right.
it could be just the
Uh,
flip side where because you have low sexual desire, you can't keep a partner. Could be that
Yeah.
way too.
Now that's what I was thinking. That's what
It
I was
could be that
thinking
way
too.
too.
I was thinking that too, and that's why it's important to have those conversations and that communication up front, because you
Right.
really need to be able to, but not just having a conversation, but having an honest conversation.
Right.
So many people
Right.
hide things thinking that they can coerce, or thinking that if they were honest about it, then the person's going to go away or they're not going to be interested.
Right.
And oftentimes, if you are honest with the person and you're really, then you can formulate that dance that works between the two of you.
Right, exactly. I say that all the time, Dr. Liz. I say all the time, when you have open and honest communication, you'll be surprised with what comes out of that. Because when you get into those relationships where you start those relationships off based on lies, or they're one-sided, where you have a partner and she might think that she's the only one that can have certain type of behaviors dealing with other people, but then they don't want you dealing with other people, and then they want to make it seem like there's one mutual relationship here, and it's really not. That's building a false impression. And then when the other partner finds out that truly wasn't what's being done, then it creates a huge, huge, huge floor of feeling like you can't be safe with your partner, feeling as though your partner is being untruthful to you. So the communication is just definitely
Mhm.
different.
That is so good. I kind of equate good information with just some good old food, good old dinner. That was like that was like almost a full plate right there, because I think some of these concepts and some of the things that we're talking about, people live them, but they don't understand them. And that
Right.
false impression that you're talking about, and you
Mhm.
know, and a person not feeling like they can be safe in the relationship, that is so important that we really understand that. A lot of people think it's something wrong with them, or somebody's telling them that you have trust issues, or it's you, when actually
Right.
it's not, when actually it is a, I want to say, a natural or given right that if you are with a partner, you should be able to feel safe. You should be able to be vulnerable. And this is where we don't have that healthy balance of knowing what a healthy relationship looks like, because we see
Right.
all of these imbalanced relationships, abusive relationships. We see all of this toxic relationships on betrayed on TV, even in you know, like some of our movies and things like that. We see all of this. And so
That's
our barometer to gauge what's a healthy relationship is like skewed. And then you
it
start,
is.
you know,
Yeah.
blaming yourself, like it's something wrong with you. And that's why I think so many women end up in that place of insecurity, because they keep feeling like it's something wrong
There's
with me,
something
when
wrong
it's
with me.
absolutely nothing wrong with you. Your body is triggering and telling you it's something not right here.
Right. Right. Yep. And that's what all the issues of how infidelity comes about and different things of that nature too, is because the communication is not strong. I,
Hmm.
I strongly believe communication is the foundation to it all. So if we haven't figured that part out yet, I don't know how else to say it.
It almost
I
comes up on
don't.
every podcast. It almost comes up on every one of our podcasts. It comes up that communication is the key for everything, you know.
Communication.
But, and it's like
Yes.
it gets me that it seems like such a simple thing. Communicate openly and
Oh,
honestly. It seems like it's a little simple thing, but it's like it's
so
major,
balancing.
and it's not respected whatsoever, you know.
Not at all. No, not
Wow.
at all.
Wow.
Mm-mm, not at all.
Well, all right, let's keep digging in, because this is some good stuff.
Okay. The fourth myth, we should all hail the queen V as our most important sex organ. This is what I was just talking about.
Okay.
So there are many things we should praise our queen V for, but being the most critical sex organ isn't one of them. She says, fun fact, it's your brain.
Hmm.
Yes, the mind truly is a terrible thing to waste. There are women who can think themselves into an orgasm without so much as laying a finger anywhere on their bodies. And I have definitely heard of this before. Yes, baby, it's all in your mind. The new thinking, brain activity actually increases leading up to and peaks at orgasm, particularly tapping areas associated with the pleasure, reward, and addiction. Brain, number 2, vagina, 0. So the vagina has very little to do. It's just a place where we have sex, right? Where we're able to have intercourse. However, sex starts here.
It starts in the brain. And that's
Starts
and
here.
that goes back to talk about, or there's a reason when you are with your partner and you start to, you know, you do little flirty things throughout the day, or flirty
Right.
texts, or, you know, or flirty, you know, touch or something like that. That,
Right.
you know, and a lot of folks, like I said, when you talk about that, you know, getting into this argument or disagreement and then thinking you're just gonna jump into bed and it's going to erase, you still have that, like you said, and that's so
Right.
you still have those recordings that's playing in your brain. So if your brain is the most important, then how you think anything else is going to actually fall into line?
Exactly. Exactly. So we have to be careful with that. When we talk about our partners are the most important things to us, are you really showing that when you're interacting with your partner? What type of communication are you having throughout the day? When you're together, what does that look like? That interaction between the two of you. Are you busy interacting with somebody else throughout the whole day? You know what I mean? While you're
Right,
in physical presence with your partner.
right.
So all those things, are you just out and about doing other things all day long and you're not giving your partner the attention that's needed? And then if that's the case, again, I'm going to bring that C word up. Why are you not communicating about it? Why
Absolutely.
are you not talking about it? Why are you not saying, hey, I'm missing something, I'm feeling something, and I'm not feeling you here. I'm not feeling you here, and I need to feel you in these two places if you want me to feel you in the vagina.
Oh, that is so powerful. That is so good. You just gave somebody the script because oftentimes folks don't know what to say. But that was so, and you know what? And I think the way that you said it is so powerful, because what I want our ladies to understand, that it's important how you communicate that to someone. And how you communicate it with them does really determine how they're going to receive it. If you're giving it to them with vinegar and bitterness, then they're going to receive it that way. The spirit in which you deliver. You just said, I got to feel you in my head, and I got to feel you in my heart. And if I'm not, there's something going on. There's something off with us. How do we fix it? And I think that's a huge. How do we fix it? Not coming in demanding, or or spewing commands at somebody, or demands at somebody, or ultimatums at somebody, just to say, hey.
And I think too, something else we have to be careful with when we're looking at relationships and we're looking at the physical end of our relationship is how we start a relationship. When we set our intentions at the beginning of the relationship, that typically sets a foundation for how that relationship is. And if that's not how sometimes, and it's okay. Like we talked earlier about having a notorious bag, right? And the coochie chondriac. We talked about those different personalities earlier, but those personalities set a foundation with how our sex lives are going to go. And we have to be so present and so open about if the relationship begins to change, how are you changing with it? Because those previous behaviors you had in that relationship before you decided to change will dictate how the relationship will continue to carry on. So you got to be careful. So she does talk about that too. Your vag, I'm sorry, my cat he's on one today. He is misbehaving so much, but
want some attention. He's communicating, I want your attention.
It's driving me nuts. But we have to be careful about that personality. Basically saying you have to be careful about what type of messages you're sending. And as that message or what you desire begins to change, that you're continuing to make sure that that message reflects the change that you're hoping for and desiring.
That's good. That's good. I think what I'm hearing you say too is, we have to be clear on the communication with ourselves, like what we're telling ourselves, and who we are, showing up as in the world and in our relationship. So we have to be clear on that. And be honest with ourselves about that. There was a movie that I saw, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a kind of quirky little story. But the lady in the story, I don't know if she bumped her head, I don't know what happened, but she was a heavy set lady, and she forgot in the bumping of her head or what have you, she forgot that she was heavy set. So she all of a sudden was like, okay, I'm the stuff. And so she totally carried herself in that manner, and all the responses that she got was so different. And I gotta look that movie up and see which one it was, but it was just her confidence. Like even her man, I think she had gotten him after the fact, but he was so attracted to her confidence. And he was like, wow, like you're super duper confident. She's just naked, prancing all over the room and naked in front of the window. And, she's just uninhibited with her, like, diving on him and all this other stuff. And he was like, man, this is great. You're super confident. I just love that movie. But that's the communication that we tell ourselves, and reprogramming some of the negative stereotypes that even this, the society like throws in our laps on magazine covers and airbrushed models and, all of this other stuff. It's like, communication is important, and what you tell yourself and what you believe and what you even allow other people to speak over you and speak to you, it all makes a difference.
Right, it truly does. And then in that turn, and that along with that, your behavior will reflect it as well. So
your behavior reflects it. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, all right.
The fifth myth: aphrodisiacs don't really work. So things like chocolate, oysters, asparagus, we hear about all those things, correct? That influences our sexual appetite. But she talked about a research or a study that was done where women were given the little blue pill. And then there was a group of women that was given a sugar pill or a placebo. And those who took the placebo, it was about 40% of them who reported an increase in sexual desire. So what does that tell us?
You said only 40%.
40% of the ladies who received the sugar pill, that's almost half of the ladies who received the sugar pill,
Yeah.
had an increase in their sexual desire.
So are we saying that we're going back to what's in the mind?
We're going back to what's in the mind. Absolutely.
Going back to what's in the mind.
Yes.
Wow. Now the only thing that I kind of like on the fence about is like pheromones. Is that different?
Well, she's not saying that the aphrodisiacs don't work, because definitely those types of foods, those pheromones, different things, they do heighten our desire. Because again, you're talking about our senses. Smells, vanilla, they say vanilla, the smell of vanilla really increases a person's like, oh, what is that? So again, it's the senses, it's sometimes too, we talked on a different podcast of how serotonin will affect our how we feel, right? So those foods that we eat may have omega-3s that would affect the serotonin level and different things of that nature. So we need to be more aware of what those foods or those different items might be presenting to the body, which would impact our sexual desire.
Got it. Like cinnamon was another one. For men, they said cinnamon is another one.
Okay.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, cinnamon. No, gonna go grab them some. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna endorse the name of the big one, but
no, man, that he took a lot of cinnamon. He said he was taking cinnamon, but I think he told me he was taking cinnamon for his heart. And I was thinking to myself, I thought cayenne was for the heart.
It's cayenne pepper. That's the greatest circulatory herb there is. So I think he got them mixed up.
No, he didn't get them mixed up, honey. He was just trying to test my temperature and see what I knew.
Cinnamon probably got something else stirred up, but it ain't not hard.
He was testing me. Nope. He's like, yeah, I'm taking cinnamon. What you taking cinnamon for? For the heart. Oh, okay.
All righty.
I like to read, so as you can see behind me, no.
Beautiful library. I love it. Beautiful library.
Thank you. So the sixth myth: libido declines with age. I'm not so sure about that. According to Dr. Walter, she says actually libido increases with age. It says some research shows it can actually increase. And let's not forget all the other factors that contribute to your desire to get it on, like hormonal fluctuations. Women who menstruate are randier mid-cycle than they're ovulating than right before their period. Also, medications can sap your desire. Lifestyle habits, whether you're drinking too much or smoking too much, doing too many drugs, stress will affect your libido. Being exhausted will definitely affect the libido. So there are so many factors that go into how our libido will be effective. And it basically is determined upon our lifestyle or what's happening with us biologically.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And then, our retirement age is not as much, just dependent, but it's not as much, stress and emotional, like all these, so much to do. We're doing. So I can see that. But that's a good one because I've always heard that it did, but then one of my partners brought me some information about, how much sex is happening in the nursing homes.
I'm not surprised.
What else we gonna do? Hello. else, you know.
Mm-mm.
Well, all right. So, so
Let's
are we?
see. We have one more.
Oh, I thought we had one more.
Yes, the seventh myth, having a low sex drive is rare. It says experts say as many as 80% of women will experience a low sex drive at some point in their lives. And for each of them, the solution to the problem will be different. But all too often, women think there's one solution and they can only get it by walking out of their doctor's office with a prescription. The answer is frustratingly more complicated, yet far easier than you might think. Is also one of the biggest misconceptions about women and sex drive. So this, and that's when she goes into not being afraid to explore other avenues, get to know your body. Maybe you need to go see a therapist. You and your partner, especially together, there are sex therapists out there. You will go see a therapist to have cognitive restructuring. You can see a therapist for sex. So there are so many different things that may be a factor of that. And it is not so easy as to just go and say, hey, doc, let me go get that blue pill. You don't need the blue pill. More than likely, you just need to sit back, do some reflection, and get in a vulnerable place with yourself, you and your partner, and not be afraid to figure out what's going on and solve it.
I think it's all of this suppression and all of this denial, you know,
Correct.
that's unhealthy. So if we can hear anything, you know, if we can really hear something, you know, today, I think one of the lessons, you know, that we can draw from the information is, you know, we talked about it, is having a healthy communication. If you want a healthy sex life, having healthy communication with your partner, having boundaries, having, you know, clear expectations, and to thyself be
Right.
true. I think to thyself be true is one of the biggest, you know, one of the biggest factors there is, you know, because I think, you know, people say this about, you know, wanting someone to love them or wanting love. But if you have not learned to love yourself, then how can you expect not only somebody else to love you, but also how can you expect um, to be healthy and love somebody else
Right.
if you know if you haven't mastered that or even you know even tackled those issues. So
Right. I was talking with my friend over the weekend, and we both had agreed that no one can make you happy. You have to know how to make yourself happy before you can even expect someone to come into your life and bring joy.
abs-
Happiness and joy are two different things. So you
happiness
have
and
to know
joy.
how to make yourself happy to
Absolutely.
recognize that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we have um moseyed our way through the seven myths about a woman's libido, and we hope everybody got something from it. You know, just pull some information out, even if it's just one little grain of information that you can add to your arsenal. We just helping
Yes.
everybody to be better.
Yes. Yes.
Did you have anything that you wanted to leave our audience with today?
No, I just have to say, hey, ladies, don't be afraid again, as we can continue to reiterate, is don't be afraid to get to know yourself better. Know your body, know the things that you put into your body that increases your libido. Know what you're doing to your body. Maybe you're working too much. Maybe your partner isn't sending you enough messages throughout the day. And don't be afraid to say, hey, boo, I need you to, and fill in the blank.
That's good. Hey,
Yeah.
boo, I need you too. I was just trying it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, don't be afraid to do that.
Well, until next time, you all, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with someone else. And until next time, stay fearless. Bye for now.